Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody, rise up. Weekdays, catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening. Good morning and good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. All right? Let us not forget that. There's a few things that have gone on today, throughout the day, and yesterday, I guess last night, that I didn't get a chance to really talk to you guys about, things that were breaking and things that were going on. So this is kind of a flash recap of things that have happened last night to things that have happened today. All right. A lot of things are going on in the world right now. We obviously have the government shut down right now as we speak going on, which is also just absolutely crazy. That's another conversation in itself, but that is something that's going on right now as we speak. So there's a mixture of things that we're going to be talking about. And of course, I'm going to try to get all of this done within an hour. We're going to see if that actually happens tonight. We'll see. Okay. Because your boy has been busy. And of course, tomorrow's another day and there's a lot going on. So I'm going to try to give you a quick recap on some of the things that have gone on in these cases that we are keeping an eye on. Okay. So do me a favor, hit that like button down below, hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you're following. Of course, hit that reaction button there on those platforms. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button here on my YouTube channel. We're in the 80s now. Okay. You know, the 80s. We're in the 80s now, okay? The 180s, and it's amazing. It's great to be here, okay? Can't wait till we get to the 200s. But when we get there, we will have a big bash for sure. So make sure you're subscribed, okay? Make sure you go over to my other two channels, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe over there. Hit that notification bell on all those platforms. Hit that join button down below. Become a member. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. All right? PascalMerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. Go and check it out. You'll thank me later. PascalMerch.com. Okay, guys. We have got to get into this conversation, okay? Now, here's the thing. There has been a lot that's been going on. There was something that broke a little bit ago. I did a short on it. And I did want to talk to you guys about it just a tiny bit, because there is a lot of world news that's going on. There's a lot of news that's going on in the world outside of America that does matter, that there does need to be some semblance of care and reaction to. Because, yes, we're wondering what's going on with the David case, the David Celeste case. Yes, we're wondering what's going on with, we're wondering what's going on with this Diddy sentencing that's coming up here very, very soon. It's happening Friday. We will be here. We will be watching it. And apparently they're saying that sentencing could last for more than one day. At least that's what they're saying out here in these streets. Don't quote me on that, but that's what I'm hearing, that it could very well be lasting longer than just one day. Why? We're going to get into, I'm going to try to look it up and find out why. But I want to know why, because it doesn't make sense. Tell them how long you're going to be in there for and gets the shipping, right? But there's some more things that are going on here that I think are very interesting. And of course, have got a lot of people reacting to it as well. So there's a lot of things that are going on with the David case. Of course, family's been swatted. His family's been swatted. Of course, he's lawyered up. There's new information about Celeste when she went missing. The conversations and correspondence with police during the year that she was missing and all that. So we're going to be talking about that and more. But mainly, we got to go into our top story, or our first story of the day. And this is what's going on. This is what's going on overseas, and it should matter. We should give a damn about this, okay? Every single last one of us should give a damn about this. Why? Because we got kids that are starving. We got families and people and kids that are starving, all right? In other in other countries. And no, this is not the whole like, for 7 cents a day, you can give this kid a bowl of rice. No, this is more disturbing than you'd ever think of. And it's what's going on in Gaza. Gaza is there's absolute devastation going on there. They are literally fighting for their lives, trying to just find anything to eat. It is very, very bad. Everything's been shut off with Gaza. And here it is. I understand. I get it. Everyone has their political bias with that situation. But in my personal opinion, when you're dealing with people who are starving to their own demise, that's a big problem. In my personal opinion, that is a massive, massive problem. You can sit there and argue with me all day long about politics. F the politics, okay? F them. When you got footage of kids, basically skin and bones, all right? That's when I have a problem with it. And apparently, a lot of other people had a problem with it as well. Some to the tune of Greta Thunberg, okay? She has now been arrested. Now, I just want you guys to know what's been going on, all right? Just a quick recap, just a quick update or, backgrounds to this. If you don't know about her, she's an activist, environmentalist, an environmental activist. Basically, you can basically say she's an activist, all right? She's definitely spanned out to other genres and other themes that are going on in this world. She and a bunch of people, about 500 activists, got together and they basically have been sailing in, they say, about 50 boats, 50 vessels. They've been sailing down to try to get to Gaza so that they could render aid to the people of Gaza. Again, let me remind you, Gaza's been in bad shape, literally and metaphorically speaking, okay? They are not getting food. It's all bad, okay? All bad. But nonetheless, she and a group of 500 activists have gone down to try to render aid. They call it a flotilla, an aid flotilla that went down and were trying to render aid to Gaza. Well, she has just been detained by Israeli forces again. Now, what's very interesting about this whole thing, I mean, this is obviously a few hours old now. It's not so breaking news so much anymore. But at the same time, this is what's going on, right? So again, just really quick, Israeli Foreign Ministry posts videos of Thunberg or Greta, okay, of her arrest. Vessels carrying about 500 activists intercepted about 75 miles off coast of this war-torn country or territory. Now, they've been saying like they're flying or they're sailing into war territory, that they shouldn't be there. Of course, now she and other people of the likes of Susan Sarandon, Nelson Mandela's grandson, Mandela has also been detained. Now, they say that they are going to be deported back to their respective countries or deported out of that area after Yom Kippur, because Yom Kippur started just now. I mean, we're in the middle of Yom Kippur right now as we speak. So they say after Yom Kippur, they will be sent back, I guess, to their respective countries after they've been detained trying to get down to Gaza to render aid to the people of Gaza. But nonetheless, this is a very interesting situation. It is very bad. Of course, in my personal opinion, when it comes to people being starving, not being able to have the simple things that every person should have, which is clean air, water, food, okay, that is a big problem. And so when you have activists going out of their way trying to get into an area so that they can render aid, I think that's a big deal. And it's a big problem when you have Israeli forces coming in and cutting them off. That's a huge problem too. Okay. I'm just saying, outside of whatever opinions you may have, whatever bias, whatever opinions, etc., put all those things aside for a second. And when you think about what's going on in Gaza and what's going on to the people of Gaza right now, taking all that political bias out the way, The fact that these people are trying to get in and trying to help, I think, and being intercepted and being stopped, I think is a big problem. Okay. So again, pretty interesting stuff that's going on, but that's something I think the world should know about and the world should care about because again, this has to do with the people who should have things that they should be able to get, right? They should not be squeezed off or some sort of firewall, if you will, cutting people off from the things that they need. I think that's bad. Okay. But again, that is something that's very interesting. And of course, I wanted to share that with y'all really quick. Another thing I think is very, very interesting. Okay. This is, like I said, we're going through a bunch of things. These are just kind of warm up talk. Okay. And then we're going to go into the meat and potatoes here in just a minute. Okay. And if you do appreciate this, I'll probably put in a poll here in a little bit about this. Cause I keep experimenting on whether to do multiple stories in one show type thing. Or if I should stay with just the one topic and just stay with that one topic, but I might put up a poll and get your thoughts on that in just a little bit. But here's the other thing too, that I think is very interesting. Okay. The Super Bowl is going to be coming up eventually, right? Like every year, unless there's some sort of boycott, right? Unless there's some sort of strike. Super Bowl, or unless we get hit with another like Rona, all right? Super Bowl is coming. Every year we get it, right? Every single year we get it. And in this particular year, or in every year, I'm sorry, we have the halftime show. And some of these halftime shows are people that are world renowned, that people really appreciate and like. And then there's other ones where people don't really know their music. Only a certain group of people, maybe a certain amount of people know that artist's music, or they might only know one song from that artist because of TikTok or something of that sort, right? But nonetheless, every year, whenever there is a Super Bowl, there is a massive halftime show. And you can have everybody from the likes of Michael Jackson to J-Lo to Shakira to Coldplay to U2 to Kendrick Lamar. And now, this year, we're getting Bad Bunny. And people are mad about that. But why? ¿Por qué? ¿Por qué? Why? Why are people mad? Why? Why does it even matter? Why? If you really think about it, let me just tell you something. Bad Bunny is a massive, massive star. He's an international success. Sure, some of y'all might not know his music, right? Some of y'all might not know any of his stuff. Shoot, some of y'all might not even be fluent in Spanish, okay? But nonetheless, he's an artist. He's a huge artist, massive artist that could really bring more eyes to the Super Bowl just to see his performance because of how big and massive and popular he is. I feel that a lot of people are reacting to this solely because of our political climate. That's what I truly think. I think instantly everyone's feeling some type of way because, oh, good God, he's not American. He barely speaks English. And that's it. He's not American and he barely speaks English. And I feel a lot of people are going to be like, oh, yeah, you're right. My bad. He is American. My bad. He's from Puerto Rico. I forgot about that. My bad. My bad. So anyway, let me take that back. That he barely speaks any English. That he barely speaks any English. So now people are mad about that. And that they're like, hey, 90% of the music that I'm going to hear, I don't even know what he's saying. It's all a foreign language to me. I don't understand it. Well, here's the thing. There's been plenty of other artists that have performed on the for the Super Bowl that people only knew like one song by the person, right? But they were massive, huge successes. Now, I'm not sitting here saying I'm not sitting here saying that he's the best choice for a Super Bowl, but at the same time, why stop him from being able to do his thing? Here's the other thing, too. This is also an opportunity for him to expand to new listeners that are listening to his music. Like, I do like that song. That's kind of fire. Blah, blah, blah. Right? That's what I think. Give it a shot. Here's the other thing, too, because there's a lot of people that are very upset about this. To me, I go, if you don't like it, you can always just go on a, go get a, go get a drink, go and get a, go to that, pick up some chips. You know what I mean? Pick up an extra 6-pack of beer. By the time you get back, it'll almost already be over. And then you can get back to the football game, right? But there are going to be a lot of people out here that really do appreciate and really do like Bad Bunny. There's a lot of people that do. And they're going to enjoy it. But then there's some things that were said on a show that I think is just crass. I mean, that's just me though. Okay? I just think it's crass. Okay? We don't only beautiful messy ball. Come on. We don't only speak English in America. Come on now. But I appreciate you saying what you're saying. That's your opinion. But at the same time, we speak more than just English in this country. There's a lot of Spanish-speaking individuals in this country, too. Let's not forget that. And they are also American. Come on. Come on now. Come on. Come on. Football is an international sport. Yes, I know NFL is here in America, but at the same time, it is televised throughout the entire world, that Super Bowl event. It is massive. So why not have a massive name like himself perform? I say, why not? We've already seen other people perform where we're like, this was boring. Or why did we see that? There's been plenty of other ones like that too. So why doesn't he get a shot at performing? That's just what I think. But me, I listen to all kinds of music. I love international music. I do appreciate not all of Bad Bunny's music, but I do like some of his music, right? I listen to everything. That's just me though, right? And I'm American, and I appreciate other languages other than just listening to English language songs, because we're a melting pot, and that's what America is. A bunch of different cultures in one place. So far, not right now being in harmony, but we should be in harmony, right? But it's a melting pot. That's what America is. At least that's what I see it. Now, of course, I come from a family of immigrants as well. So again, that's just the way I see it. Now, when it comes to Bad Bunny performing, we've already seen the likes of J-Lo and Shakira and all these other artists perform in there. And I get it that they have maybe more mainstream American music, but who cares? Let him do his thing. Hopefully he kills it. And if he doesn't, then that's on Jay-Z and the NFL people that made the decision to bring Bad Bunny into this. But like I said, before we get into, but the thing is that I find very, very interesting is how people are reacting to this. And I think this is really jacked up. I really do think it's messed up. Because now we're hearing from other shows, people coming in like a Trump advisor basically saying, oh yeah, expect ICE to be at the Super Bowl then if we got Bad Bunny. Now, let me just say this really quick. I'm going to say this ahead of time before we even go into this. All right. Do you really think Bad Bunny ain't reading that and making sure that everybody has their papers and has whatever? You see what I'm saying? Has, that is legal, et cetera, that's there on a working visa or blah, 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 or making sure that the people that are working on that actual event, his halftime show, at least, that they are legal. You don't think he's going to make sure? Now it's like, oh, thanks for the heads up, bro. Thank you. No. Thank you. I appreciate you because you just gave me a heads up. Or how about all the people that are working that want to work the Super Bowl? You don't think that's going to be a heads up? Just a little bit. Thank you so much for the heads up. Okay. I'll make sure that everybody's legal. Do you have your passports? Do you have your shots? You know what I'm saying? It's kind of dumb. You know what I mean? But if you want to bring ICE, then do it. Go ahead. See, do you? But now he's got a heads up. You don't think people are reacting to this? Everybody's reacting to this in such a ridiculous manner. You know, it's ridiculous. There's been so many artists that have performed, so many different genres of music. Why not his music? Like I said, literally people are pulling up old photos or old videos of him. Like, I guess he's in drag or cross-dressing and everything. I don't care. But they're like, they're letting this guy do a halftime show. Dear God, you know, anti-ICE posts and all that stuff. That's his right to say whatever he wants. As an American, that's his right to say what he wants. Right? Just like it's our right to say what we want. So if he wants to go up and perform and he gets an opportunity, which is a huge opportunity, let the man have it. And I hope he destroys it. I hope he kills so hard that everyone can't find a reason to try to spin it into something. But you know what? We live in a world where there are kings and queens of spin, and they're going to try to turn this into something else. And they'll be like, can't you see there was some sort of subliminal message right there? Don't you see? Don't you see the subliminalness of what he said? He's trying to say anti-ICE comments right there. Don't you see? Now, we'll see what he does. There's plenty of time between now and until the Super Bowl, okay, for him to figure out what he's going to do with his halftime show. We'll see what he does. If he does something that is blatantly, literally beating you over the head with a message like that, then got him. But if he doesn't, then he doesn't. But you know how it is. We got kings and queens of spin, and we live in a world where both sides do this. I'm not just saying one. Both sides do this, and they'll try to find something to twist it, smack it up, flip it, rub it down into, oh no. Hopefully that won't be the case. But let's take a look at this. He's saying, this guy's like, okay, Bad Bunny hates America. Okay, that's quite a statement. Expect ICE to be at the Super Bowl. And we all know this guy, the Benny Show. But let's look at this. So the NFL announced Bad Bunny will perform at the Super Bowl, 2025 Super Bowl, okay? And now ICE is announcing their planned appearance. Well, according to Donald Trump's former campaign manager. Now, here it is. I'm going to be real. I'm not surprised, okay? I'm not surprised that they would say something like this. And I wouldn't be surprised if Trump is thinking of doing something like that. And if he does do that, man, it's going to be one hell of a show. That's all I got to say. So hold on to your butts. It's going to be interesting. But I really think Bad Bunny is not going to be that dumb. Okay? I really don't think he'd be that dumb. If he's heard about this information, right? Am I going to take my stand up on the road one day when I am brave enough to do stand up? How's that? But anyway, so of course, Corey Lewandowski was on Benny Johnson's the Benny Show. He's confident the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, basically ICE, will make their presence known at the Super Bowl next year. So Corey, who worked on Trump's 2016 and 2024 presidential campaigns, even seems to offer a threatening message and warning. There is nowhere you can provide safe haven to people who are in this country illegally. Not the Super Bowl and nowhere else. Okay. Bad Bunny, who hails from Puerto Rico, noted how thrilled he was to represent his home island and Latinos at the big show after he was revealed as the halftime entertainment. A coveted honor. This is massive, guys. Okay? Didn't we have Pitbull? Like, I don't think Pitbull headlined a halftime show, but didn't he perform at a halftime show one time. Like I said, we saw the likes of J-Lo and Shakira dancing and twerking and, wearing thongs and stuff like that, and sliding up and down a stripper pole. We saw all that just a few years ago. Did we not? Last month, the I Like It sensation told ID magazine he didn't take his recently wrapped 30-show Puerto Rican residency to mainland America due to his concerns over ICE and safety of his fans. So Corey seemingly took a jab at BB over his decision, telling Bad Bunny, telling Benny, it's shameful the NFL chose someone, quote unquote, who seems to hate America so much to represent them at the halftime show. I literally do not see the hate. But this is the thing. I'm sorry, but I'm going to say it. It's because he's brown. There is a huge reaction and there's a huge push to deport anyone brown out of this country that does not have their papers, right? That's literally the entire push right now. Is it not? So now that's the whole vibe. That's the whole agenda. And therefore, someone who is legal, who has a big following, is popular, massive talent, by the way. Massive. This is not, like I said, this is not just some guy who just has a few followers on TikTok, a few people who listen to his crap on SoundCloud. Okay. No, this is a guy he's an international superstar. He's an international name doing the Super Bowl. This is huge, guys. This is huge. And because of the way the world is and the way the world is now and how everything is focused on deporting everybody out here in these streets, ripping families from ripping people from their families and all that, because that's literally happening. There's no argument about that. That is literally happening. Okay, families getting ripped apart by ICE. That is true. Doesn't matter what you think. It is true. We have seen it, heard it, all that. Okay. Because of all that, there's a specific vibe. And now you got a guy who is also brown going to perform at one of the biggest, most coveted moments in any artist's career. And now it's been politicized. Ain't that some BS? I'm just saying, that's BS. I think it's BS. But hey, like I said, if you're going to sit there and go, wait for ICE to be here because they about to rock your world, bro. Okay, I'm sure he knows that by now. And he's going to make sure every single person has their papers, is legal. I would hope so, right? That they have their papers and that they're legal. He has plenty of time. Do you understand that? This is not like they decided he's going to do the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl's next week. You see what I'm saying? He got time, though. He got plenty of time to make sure everything, all those ducks in a row. And ICE could be there if they want to. And I hope it doesn't turn into a situation, right? I just hope it doesn't turn into something bad, right? Oh, and let me just say this too. The ones that are also getting deported or getting caught by ICE, yes, there are others that are being caught and they are, they have committed some very violent crimes. They're criminals. They're animals. Absolutely get them the F out of this country. Let me make that abundantly clear. Okay, I'm not condoning all of this, everybody in this country and all that. No, but there are also other very innocent people that are here, maybe in the middle of trying to get their paperwork done, et cetera, that are getting ripped from their families. That's literally happening. Okay, just saying that's facts. All right, but I agree. Violent criminals and all those, they could go bye-bye. They don't need to be here. Get them gone, please and thank you. But like I said, this should not apply to Bad Bunny. But if it does, I'm hoping he just gets everything locked down so that Super Bowl Sunday, Ice isn't. Can you imagine? He's in the middle of doing one of his songs, just doing his thing, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, suddenly out of nowhere, Ice just runs, literally runs up on the field, just detaining everybody. That would be insane. I will say that would be freaking insane, and I hope that doesn't happen. But like I said, hopefully he does his thing. He makes sure everybody has all the proper credentials that they need before they even step foot in that dome. But he also adds, let's continue saying this. He adds, we should be trying to be trying to be inclusive, not exclusive. There are plenty of great bands and entertainment people could be playing at the show or at that show that would be bringing people together and not separating them. But here's the thing. How is this separating? How is this separating the situation? You see what I'm saying? How is that separating people? Because it's in another language? And that's it? For the amount of culture that actually is in this country, we are some really uncultured people. This is wild. You had J-Lo, you had Shakira. Of course, I'm only leaning on those people so far, but I'm just saying, this guy has a massive name and a lot of music that people really do appreciate. So again, it all depends on how he does, all right, and how the reaction is going to be. I had a feeling Beautiful Messy Ball had something else to say. I was waiting for that. We'll get to it in a second. But anyway, like I said, I don't see it as such, right? I just don't. But that's just me. Like I said, I love all kinds of music. I appreciate it all. I love all kinds of different cultures and all of that. That's just me, though. I think that would be a great time, and it'll obviously give people an opportunity to listen and hear an artist that they may not have ever heard before. Well, we'll see that. We'll see. Okay, we'll see. So he argues, however, Bad Bunny's gig isn't the reason Ice will be at the Super Bowl. He says he doesn't care whose concert it is. If you're illegal, you're getting kicked out of the country. So Ice is just going to be there. Okay? Maria, gracias. All right. So very interesting. Like I said, you had The Weeknd, which, by the way, I'm going to be in Katy Perry. And I get it that they're American names. Okay. They're American artists, like American known artists, and they are singing in English. I get that part. But the problem I got, okay, both of these performances to me were boring as F. I'm sorry. Okay? Let me just say that. All right? Let me just say that. I thought Katy Perry's performance was boring. I thought The Weeknd's performance what was up with the mirrors? Why were there mirrors? What's up with the mirror maze? I just thought it was boring, right? I'm just going to be real. You know what I mean? Even though I knew every single song that The Weeknd performed. He's Canadian. I didn't realize he was Canadian, but he is an American name, right? He is an American, a lot of people know him in America. How's that? So anyway, he performed, thought it was boring as sin. Okay. I was like, okay, I'm done. I'm over here. I'm gonna go. Who needs beers? We need a beer run. Okay. I'm doing a beer run. That's what I did. I was over somewhere else. I was like, I didn't like it. I thought it was boring. There's certain gigs or certain performances that I thought were just like, what is that? Why are we watching that? You know what I mean? But at the same time, that's who they chose to perform. So they chose him to perform. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I'm not going to start an absolute riot in the streets because an artist is chosen. There's been plenty of other ones that have done stuff, and I'm like, that have done the performances, and I'm like, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't care to listen to that band or that artist. It's not my bag, baby. But okay, he's up there, or she or they are up there. Let them do their thing. I'm not sitting there going, we must boycott the Super Bowl. How dare they? How dare they? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, guys. It's a waste of time. A lot of energy wasted. You know what I mean? This is a time that we should be coming together as a country and going, okay, they chose. I bet they chose Bad Bunny. Let's see how you do. I've never heard his music before. You know what I mean? Let me play some of his stuff on iTunes. Okay. Yes. Okay. None of it's in English. Okay. Great. I don't know his stuff, but hopefully he does an amazing job. Or maybe he's going to do something where he brings a lot of artists on the stage to perform as well with him to even out, you know what I mean? To even out the language situation, to even out the fact that not a lot of people are going to really know his music. You see what I'm saying? So just saying, Coldplay performed, right? Beyonce, did Beyonce or did she do a guest appearance? No, Beyonce performed. Then Bruno Mars performed. Justin Timberlake performed, right? Rihanna performed. So there's been a bunch, okay? Like, seriously. Are we going to lose our minds over this guy? Too much energy is wasted on this. Let me be real. But let's hear what this guy got to say. From Benny Shaw.
For the Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show?
Benny, there is nowhere that you can provide safe haven to people who are in this country illegally, not the Super Bowl and nowhere else. We will find you. We will apprehend you. We will put you in a detention facility and we will deport you. So know that that is a very real situation under this administration, which is completely contrary to how it used to be. That said, look, the NFL has been so woke for so many years. They finally decided to make a comeback. They finally had people stand up for our great national anthem. But remember, these guys, Colin Kaepernick used to say, well, I wasn't being chosen to play on the NFL team because I was kneeling. No, you sucked, and that's why you weren't being played. That's why no team wanted to pick you up, because they're a business is the bottom line. And so here's where we are, Benny. I used to love watching NFL games. I used to love watching baseball games. And when sports got into wokeness, I stopped doing it. Now, listen, I still participate in a fantasy football league with some of the guys that I've known for 25 years and, want my players to win. But it's so shameful that they've decided to pick somebody who just seems to hate America so much to represent them at the halftime game. I was at the Super Bowl last year with President Trump. I had the chance to be in Louisiana in his box and watch the game and got to enjoy that. But listen, we should be trying to be inclusive and not exclusive. There are plenty of great bands and entertainment people out there who could be playing at that show that would be bringing people together and not separating them.
Okay. Honestly, okay. All right. I don't see it being, I don't think it should separate people. But that's the thing. I feel like that's the spin that's happening right now. Everyone's trying to, it's like, if you're not Christian and conservative, come on, guys. Come on. Like I said, everything has to be divided. There has to be division on everything. This is the main reason why I'm bringing this up, because I'm trying to put the mirror up against America and just have them take a look at the reflection, right? This narrative, this approach is a waste, because there's plenty of people from all over this country that appreciate that music and others. It's not just, it's got to be AC/DC up there. You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Yes, Purple Rain with Prince halftime. His halftime show was phenomenal. I agree. Okay, Purple Rain. Come on now. But here's the thing. So be it. Let it be. You know what I'm saying? Let it be. It's only a halftime show. It's going to be 25, 30 minutes or whatever the hell, however long the hell the halftime show is. Let him do his thing. If he falls on his face, then yeah, we'll all sit there and we'll roast the hell out of him when he falls on, if he was to fall on his face. But at the same time, literally, who cares? Who cares? But the spin is happening, y'all. Okay? I know the AC/DC is Australian. I even know that. But I'm just saying, but nobody would have a problem with AC/DC doing their stuff. I everybody would be like, yes, I'm with it. Come on. It's English. We speak American in this country. Come on now, y'all. Come on.
It doesn't make any sense to me because he's Puerto Rican, so he has an American passport. So he's like, and he lives in American territory. He was born in American territory. So
Yeah, you're fine.
Can you explain that cognitive dissonance to me? I don't understand that. Like, how can you do the inside-outside thing? Bro, you're an American. Show me your passport. You have some special Puerto Rican passport just for... No, you don't. You have an American passport, you fraud.
I'm sorry. Come on. And we start spinning.
That's exactly right. Listen, if he was born in Puerto Rico, he's got a blue passport, just like the one that said I was born in Lowell, Massachusetts, right? We don't distinguish. We don't differentiate. You want to go to Puerto Rico, the only thing you can't do coming back from Puerto Rico is you can't bring fruit back. It's an incredible place, but let's not pretend the guy's he's not a U.S. citizen, because he is. And it will be everywhere. Bad Bunny plays. Look, if there are illegal aliens, I don't care if it's a concert for Johnny Smith or Bad Bunny or anybody else. We're going to do enforcement everywhere because we're going to make Americans safe. That is a directive from the president. And if you're in this country legally, do yourself a favor. Go home. We'll buy you the plane ticket. Get out of the country, and you'll have a chance to come back legally. If you're here illegally, I don't care if you've been here 2 minutes, 2 days, or 20 years, we will find you. We will deport you. So just know what's coming.
Okay. All right. But again, like I said, people are tripping over Bad Bunny, as you could see. It's like, now he has become like the face of just immigration. Solely because, like I said, he's brown. And his music is not in English. So people are mad about that. Okay. Like I said, the spin. That's it. Anything to get people riled up, especially with everything that's been going on. Okay. Like I said, with the tragedy that happened with Charlie Kirk, then it's turned into, it's an attack on Christians. And of course, the immigration thing has been going on since Trump has been sworn into the position in his second term. The immigration thing with ICE and all that has been going on like crazy. Let's not forget, even last night, Chicago, there were protests going on in Chicago. Of course, it was peaceful. Thank God. From what I gathered, it was peaceful. From what I saw, thank God it was peaceful. But yes, there were people out there angry about ICE. Okay. And there's plenty of protests that are going on throughout the country. All right. Due to ICE. So again, this is already a narrative. This is already a vibe out here that I wish would be a little bit. I just wish we didn't have this narrative. But of course, it's a narrative that they're going to spin, and they're going to be like, how dare he perform? I think it's just kind of a waste of time of, to ruffle feathers for no reason. But let me get these super chats here really quick. Okay. Let's see. Nee, thank you so much, Pascal. I had you figured wrong, and I've never been so happy to be wrong. Oh, well, cool. Keep doing you. You know what? Damn right I am. Come on now. No. We're going to keep it real here. Okay. When it comes to stuff that is blatantly like in your face, you can't deny it. At least in my personal opinion, I'm going to say it. Because it's still, in my personal opinion, not a situation of choosing, like trying to choose a side. I sit in the middle and I look at both sides, and when I see something ridiculous on either side, I'm calling it out. That's just me. So again, if people have a problem with that, then Godspeed, or you should listen to the show and you'll see, whoa, he agrees with Trump on that. Whoa, that's interesting. And oh, whoa, he doesn't agree with what's going on over there. Oh, I think for myself, just like y'all should be thinking for yourself too. All right. Janobi, thank you so much. But I do appreciate that comment. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. I'll keep you on your toes at all times. That's my job. Moving on. Janobi, thank you so much for the love. Sai, he may wear the Calvins. I don't know what you mean by that. Honestly, I don't. Sorry. I don't know what that means. But if you can explain it a little bit more, I'll look for it. Janobi. All right. Beautiful Messy Ball. The NFL didn't choose him. Jay-Z did. Yep. Need I say more? No, you don't. Yeah, Jay-Z chose him. It is what it is. It has nothing to do with him being brown. It's him having a beard, wearing dresses, and not being relatable. Good example for kids to the majority of parents. Well, wasn't Prince wearing clothing that was a little bit risque? Don't they have bands that have been who have worn androgynous clothing and all that in their, in their past, gone and performed on at the halftime shows? You know what I mean? Like, so when I look at this, it does have to do with him being brown. What are you talking about? We just heard the guy say himself. They're freaking out. Benny himself is freaking out over the fact that he has American citizenship. I need to see if that's actually true. I mean, come on. We heard it right there. I know you sent that before I played that clip, but honestly, come on. Yes, I know that's part of it, though, that he's wearing dresses and all that. But there's plenty of artists that have performed at the halftime show that have worn, in some sort of androgynous way. Let's be real. Let's be completely real. What about all these hair bands that in the past that wore lipstick and eyeliner, smoky eye, if you will? Okay. Like I said, you look at that and they're performing too, bro. So again, I'm just saying. For the record, thank you again, beautiful messy ball. For the record, I'm not rioting. I guess for Katy Perry also. Nobody should be losing their minds over this, or anybody else that ends up getting the gig, unless it's like, yo, he only has one song. How is this guy doing a whole show and he has one song on Spotify, or on Spotify? You see what I'm saying? It's like, what, he going to do that same song over and over and over again? He don't have any other songs in his catalog. He only has one freaking song, and it's 30 seconds long, and it's only as long for a TikTok. Are you out your damn mind? You see what I'm saying? Yes, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Thank you. Right? I'm just saying. Little Shirley, thank you so much for the love. Super Bowl is about the teams, not the halftime show. Thank you. Exactly. But everybody's going, oh, these damn migrants. Like I said, some people just need to chill, baby. Okay. Sue, thank you so much for saying that. I appreciate it. Hey, some days it's easy, some days it's hard. Okay. Some days it's controversial. And today, or in this particular moment, this is controversial. Everyone's losing their mind over it. Why? It is what it is. Janobi, look up Bad Bunny Calvin Klein ad. I will. I'll take a look at that here in a second. Batty, thank you so much for the love. You see Davis swatting. Yep, we are. And her death certificate. Yes, Celeste's death certificate. Yes, we talked about the certificate the other day. But we will talk about other things here. And we're going to be getting into that here in just a minute. But again, like I said, here it is. We'll see, right? We'll see. And yes, I agree, beautiful messy ball. For those who are instantly trying to grab at things, right? Basically just trying to say, oh, he's an illegal. It's dumb. It's dumb. And it's very ignorant, right? Before everyone starts losing their minds, everyone needs to chill out. It's a halftime show. That he's not getting a trophy at the end. In fact, all the people that are sitting there concerned at the edge of their seat the entire game, that are really concerned, they're more concerned about whether they're going to win their bet. Let's not forget that too. They don't give a damn if he's performing. They don't give a damn. They give a damn if their team that they're rooting for wins. Let's not forget that as well. Sports betting is huge, guys. So again, they're not watching that. They're pacing back and forth and going, oh my God, my team better win. I just dropped $2,000 on this game, and if I win, I make this amount. You know what I mean? They don't give a damn if he's up there, gyrating and singing his songs in a different language. I'm just saying. Okay. But moving on, we have got to get into the David conversation because I know a lot of us have been wanting to know what's been going on as of late. Now, we already talked about the death certificate, or at least them saying that her certificate has been the certificate has been deferred as far as the information that she says, right? As far as what they've said, they are still waiting to find out her cause of demise. They don't know about that yet at all. But a few things have happened that I think are interesting. One, we reacted just the other day about how there was ring camera footage that was released with Celeste having an argument with a neighbor in her home, in her family's home in Lake Elsinore. Now, one thing is very important. One thing, yeah, AMC, they still do not know, okay? Love your movie theaters, by the way. But still, they don't know anything yet. Still. They haven't said anything that I've seen so far. But one thing is for sure. That ring camera footage tells me that family is not telling us the truth. Yes, I don't think the family is telling the mother-loving truth. They said, oh, yeah, she came back home to visit. Now, when you say, this is according to neighbors who had the ring camera footage that released that to TMZ and whoever else had that footage, they said, oh, yeah, she came back home to visit. How is she coming back home to visit if she ran away and she was missing? I already said that the other day. And I know everybody else is now starting to pick up the ball and starting to figure out that as well. Okay. But I said that a few days ago. Going, that doesn't make any sense. If they suddenly say out of nowhere, oh yeah, I forgot. She came to visit. Coming home to visit is a lot different than she came back home. Period. She came to visit. So what does that mean? It means the parents knew exactly where she was. That she wasn't technically missing. That she was staying at somebody else's home. David's home. Let's not forget that. Now, a couple things have happened, which we're going to talk about. But one thing I want to talk about first, and then we're going to talk about how, the first things first, okay? Sheriff's deputies called to home 11 times in a year. Apparently, they were called 3 times in one specific day. But then after that, it's like after all this happens, either she runs away after, and then now she's just living with him, or she ran off and then comes back and she's just chilling. Like I said, it just doesn't make any earthly sense that you have a family, and of course I'm assuming that you have doting parents that want nothing but the world for you, okay? But it sounds like to me, possibly, let's get into the article, but it sounds to me like they gave up. They just straight up gave up. Called a bunch in 1 year, and then they stopped. Why? Because I still feel, in my heart of hearts, they knew exactly where this girl was the entire time. Maybe in the first year, they were trying to figure it all out. Where is she going? Where's she going? And then they figured out the pattern. And they figured things out. Oh, she's over there, right? So let's take a look at this. More evidence has surfaced of Celeste Rivas' troubled home life. Riverside County Sheriff's deputies were called to her house 11 times in just 1 year. Deputies repeatedly responded to her house in Lake Elsinore, California, between February of 2024 and April of 2025, according to police records. Apparently, they say, according to these police records, cops say deputies visited the home 3 times in a single day. And that was on March 19th, 2024. That's interesting, right? The same date on the surveillance video TMZ obtained from a liquor store, okay, on the same block as the family home. The same date. That's the same date. We're going to talk about this. It's the same date on the surveillance video camera footage that was from that liquor store that we saw, where she's like running and walking, running, walking, walking, running, right? And there's something that Ashley Banfield said on the show that I was on that she might be 110% right on. Hold on. So Celeste's sister went to the store after she ran away, after Celeste ran away, and checked to see if she was on that video. There's a shot of her running down the street, going out of frame. A car pulls out. It's unclear if she got in that car. 2 of the 3 visits that day were at Celeste's home. The third was to the liquor store. Records state almost all the calls were listed as minor crime investigation, with the exception of one other call for suspicious circumstances. Police took reports of 4 of the incidents, and cops plan to do follow-ups on 3 of the calls. The depositions on the rest of the calls were not available. Worth noting, police responded to Celeste's home at 9:29 p.m. on April 5th, about a half hour after after her family reported her missing to police at 9 p.m., according to her missing persons flyer. Hold on. Missing, last seen, April 5th, 2024. Hold on. 3 times in a single day, March 19th, 2024. You see the security cam footage, right? The security cam footage that we all saw. She was running down the street on this very day, March 19th, 2024. So she got into somebody's car and drove off. She wasn't reported missing until April 5th of 2024. Last seen on that day. I just want to make that abundantly clear. Okay? So they said they responded to her home on April 5th, same day that she was reported missing, about a half hour after her family reported her missing. So when she was running down the street and jumping in that car, I guess she wasn't really running away at that time, because apparently she had gone back home, and then there was more problems. Don't worry, we're going to talk about it. As we first reported, Celeste had a troubled home life and threatened to run away several times. An ex-boyfriend, which we saw that video, I reacted to that video yesterday. This kid right here, okay? His last name is also Hernandez, no relation, okay? Ex-boyfriend, he also was talking about this to TMZ, and she apparently was joking about how she was going to leave, and then she actually disappeared. Now we already know where she was found, in the frunk of this Tesla and all that. But let's talk about this here really quick. All right. So she had a troubled home life. Okay. Riverside County Sheriff's deputies were called to the house at least 11 times in 1 year. Why 11 times in 1 year? Let's talk about this here for a second. To me, I think the ring camera footage of her having an argument with her neighbors explains so much, or shows so much. Let me just say this. I think that she, one, was sick and tired of where she was living. She did not want to live there anymore. And I also think that she was getting a little bit rebellious. I think she was getting rebellious. I think she was getting, I'm sorry to say this, but I think that she may have been getting a little hard to, to discipline as a parent. She was being too wild. She wanted to be free. She was 12, 13 years old, I guess, at this time, something like that, around that time, right? I think that she did not want to have anything to do with being a child anymore. And she wanted to be adult. She wanted to be an adult really, really bad. And I think a lot of it had to do with her relationship that was being cultivated online with David. Yes, I said it. I truly think that her temper had become a problem. Now, here's the other thing, too. We don't know everything about the dynamics of what happened at home. But when they say a troubled home, I don't know if it was a situation where it was DV. I don't think it was a situation of DV. I don't. I could be wrong, but my theory is I think she believed that she was truly in love with somebody. She wanted to be in this real relationship. Here's the other part, too. She says in this, at least what he said, this is what the boyfriend, the ex-boyfriend from middle school, by the way, middle school. They ain't in high school or anything like that. They in middle school at this time, okay? Apparently, she came up to him and was like, I'm looking for something serious. Now, what 10, 11-year-old kid is saying that to another 10 or 11-year-old kid? Think about that. 10, 11, 12-year-old kid. Think about that for a second. Okay? Think about that for a second. Hold on. Think about it. He said out loud in the interview, yeah, she said she wanted something serious. Who says that? A girl who's trying to be grown. A girl who's trying to have a relationship. Trying to be an adult. When they're clearly not ready to be an adult. Now, here's the thing. If there really was something sinister going on at home, I think that the relationship that she was having with David definitely gave her incentive and gave her motivation to pack up her stuff and kick rocks. Here's the thing. There's multitudes of things. It could be an SA situation, which God forbid, I hope that's not the case. It could be a DV situation. It could be both. It could be a SA DV situation where she was trying to run away and kick rocks from that home because it was that volatile. Or it is a situation where you have a teenager who is just going through her rebellious phase and just wants to be free, wants to be an adult, wants to be treated as such, and wants her independence. Those are the options that are on the table, at least for me. I lean more on the part of she wanted to get out of the house because she wasn't happy there, but I don't think it had anything to do with DV or SA. It could. Like I said, it's still on the table. But I truly think it was because she wanted to be grown. She wanted independence. And she wasn't getting the respect that she felt like she rightfully deserved at home. And I think that was causing a rift between her and her doting parents. Well, her parents. To the point where she became a problem. Now, again, like I said, this is a theory. And yeah, you ain't wrong. R. Kelly AI style tracks. Or it's undiagnosed mental health. That could be it too, right? But even so, in her mental health, if it is a mental health issue, it could be a situation where in her mind, she's like, they just don't understand me. They just don't understand me. They don't want me to be independent. They just keep on telling me what to do. Stop telling me what to do. And if you see how she's talking to adults, parents, next door neighbors, she's not stepping up there with respect. She's cursing at them. She's yelling at them. She's having a temper tantrum right in front of those people. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that the dad or the guy that was reacting to her did a great job. He didn't do a crackerjack job. He was terrible. You're supposed to be a grown-ass man. Be a grown-ass man. This is a 13, 14-year-old girl. Treat her as such. But the way he's talking to her, he's just goading, right? He's just talking, just poking the bear, being a butthole, making the situation worse. And of course, she's getting mad because he's not turning to her and being like, we're really sorry. Kids, stop doing that, y'all. Get your ass inside. We're really, really sorry that happened. I promise it won't happen again. She's not doing that. He just keeps going, boop, 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 boop. I ain't black. We from the South Side, homie. That's all he's saying the entire time, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Oh, you know what I mean? That's bad. That's not how you're supposed to handle the situation. Now, that you never know, there might be a history with the neighbors, right? There might be a long ongoing history with the neighbors. That could be it too. And that could also be a factor in why she wanted to run away and why she wanted to get away from that neighborhood so bad, because everything was negative around her, at least in her mind. You see what I'm saying? So again, you got somebody who's young, who wants independence really, really bad. She starts talking to starting to be a rising star by the name of David. His music's being played on Fortnite games that your friends are playing and talking about. He's a star. He is rising up to the top, and he's talking to you. And he grown, but you're not. But you want to be grown. And you hate being home because your parents keep on treating you like you are this little kid, and you don't want to be a little kid anymore because you're talking to this guy who grown. And he's becoming a superstar. And you're living in a situation that may not be as financially fruitful as David, aka $20,000 a month mansion in the Hollywood Hills. She's living in a little spot with her parents in Lake Elsinore with snotty-nosed kids doing ding-dong ditches at her home. Interesting stuff, right? And then she kicked rocks. But here's the thing. After the 11 times that they were called, it's as if they gave up. And I do think that maybe she was mad. Okay? That maybe she was mad. Maybe she was throwing things. Maybe there was things that got violent at home. But maybe it wasn't the parents that were getting violent. Maybe it was her. I'm sorry for saying that, because I know everybody's like, you got to respect her and all that. I'm 110% with you on that. But I am also going to ask the question, right? We got to ask those questions. Could it be a situation where she had a mean streak in her? She had a hot temper. That could be it too. Remember, hormones, puberty. She's going through all this stuff all at the same time. Okay? And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, she lost her mind because of puberty. No, I'm just saying that could be a factor, guys. And put that in there. So again, my theory is that when the cops were called, they say here, minor crime investigation. Okay? Of course, there was another call over suspicious circumstances. You really think it was because the father was putting his hands on her? It would be a different situation. This would be a different filing. These calls would be listed as something else. I think that she was lashing out because of her hot temper. And then parents are like, we can't do this anymore. We can't. She's out of control. That's what I think. She ran away. She's ran away before. We already know where she is. We don't know what to do. We could keep bringing her back, but what's she going to do? She's going to lash out again. Cops are going to be called. We don't know what else she's capable of doing. She's getting violent. Let's just say that's possible. It's possible. We'll see. We will see. Okay. But that is something that I think is very, very interesting. 11 times in a year. But then after that, there was nothing else after that. She came back home between 4 to 6 months later to visit. That's when we saw the Ring camera footage of her reacting to the ding dong ditch situation. And she was mad, right? Don't be sorry. Teen years are tough. Yeah, Vanilla Bean. Hell yeah, they're tough. Hell yeah. Everything's a problem. Nobody understands us. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of things that are hormonally that's going on, blah, blah, blah. We're trying to get understood. We're trying to find our own independence and our own individuality, right? We all went through this, some semblance of that, okay? Some of us went through it very early, and some of us had it happen very late. But nonetheless, at some point, we went through it. We all went through it at some point, right? So again, I feel like, he went through. He was talking to her, and maybe he was that bad person in her mind, in her back of her mind, because he's just sitting there chatting with her, talking with her, blah, 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 influencing her, inspiring her to leave, gassing her up, giving her that attention and that love that she thinks, that she believes that she needs. I'm just saying. Just something to think about. Okay. Now, real quick, this is just something small, so I'm going to share this with you guys. It has to do with him, the fact that he has lawyered up. It is pretty insane that he has lawyered up. Hold on, I thought I had it and it's gone. Okay. And of course, shout out to Lauren Conlon. Okay. She's been on this case quite a bit, but I want to share this with y'all because this has been confirmed that yes, David has hired a criminal defense attorney. Okay. So a criminal defense attorney to the celebrities. Their name is Blair Burke. Burke has represented Mel Gibson, Lindsay Lohan, and Harvey Weinstein, well, for his DUI case. Burke has been described as making stars' legal, quote-unquote, scrapes disappear. So in other words, she's a fixer. She doesn't typically handle these kind of cases, these M cases, although she has before. So now we have a confirmation from Lauren Conlon, who, shout out to Lauren Conlon, okay? Because she's been doing great work on this too. All right. Great coverage on this. Criminal defense attorney is now being lawyered up, or has now been obtained by David. Why would he need that right now, though? Why would he need a criminal defense attorney if he had nothing to do with it, y'all? I'm just asking for a friend. Why would he be lawyered up with a criminal defense attorney? Interesting, right? Yeah, damn, David. Rose City. Damn, David. Damn. Yeah, it's not good. It's no bueno, cabrón. No bueno. No bueno. It's not good. It's not. Why would he? Yes, Nurse 97. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes. He's waiting. He's waiting for charges. Yeah, it's coming. Cause it's coming. Cause here's the thing. He's just chilling. You got to remember, just because he's out breathing in this freedom right now doesn't mean that he has anything. Doesn't mean that he doesn't have anything to do with this. He's just chilling, playing Fortnite, wasting his time, waiting idly by for the cops to catch up to him. I truly think that that's what's going on. Now, here's the thing, though. You ain't wrong with that beautiful messy ball. If someone found your dead, lover in your trunk, wouldn't you lawyer up? Yes, I would too. Criminal defense attorney, though, I don't know. I'd probably just get my regular lawyer. You know what I mean? I feel like this is he leveled up his lawyers. That's what I'm trying to say. He didn't just pull up and call up any lawyer. He called up a criminal defense attorney. You see what I'm saying? Let's be real. Come on now. Okay? It's not like he just called up any lawyer to represent him. He now has called a criminal defense attorney because he knows charges are coming. And if they don't come, I'll be surprised. I'll be shook. I think all of us will be shook. But I think he would have, like I said, in the very beginning, he probably had somebody else representing him, like just another lawyer, right? Probably a lawyer that he knows that he, has helped, with contracts and stuff like that. Just very basic kind of lawyer. And then his team or his friends or himself realized that he needs to get somebody who really knows their ish. So in walks in Blair Burke. That's what I think. I don't think Blair Burke is on his speed dial. I don't think this person, Blair Burke, is on his Rolodex. No, he leveled up his lawyer. Why? Because I truly think charges are coming. Let's be real. That's a big move. This is a big move. Bringing in a lawyer that has represented the likes of Lindsay Lohan, the Melly Gibson, and the Harvey Weinstein-ines. He leveled up. That's what I think. Some of y'all, okay. I'm reaching. Okay. That's just my opinion. We'll see if I'm right. I could be wrong, though, too. Right? But I think he leveled up his lawyers. But moving on, we're going to continue on because there's more going on because we got to get into the Diddy talk. And there's a lot of Diddy talk going on. Okay. But right quick, hold on. So he lawyered up. Now we got to talk about Banfield talked about this. And so I wanted to pull this up too. The fact that his family was swatted. Okay. Which I think is really, really jacked up. I truly think it's jacked up. Okay. Don't SWAT. It's dumb. It's illegal. Okay. And it could really end bad. Right. There's moments where people have reacted to people. Shoot, kids are losing their lives for ding dong ditching. Real talk. Kids are running up and going ding dong, ha ha, and running away, and then they're getting shot. I'm not kidding. That's real, and that's really happening. Okay. So again, these kinds of things, you might be swatting the wrong one. Real talk. We don't need that. It's bad. So let's take a look at this.
To be proof that the dead runaway and the singer were in fact in a romantic relationship, as David's friends confirmed to TMZ. And now tonight, yet another coincidence. Or is it? Some video has emerged of a police encounter involving David's family, who live back in Texas, where David grew up. This happened September 18th in a suburb of Houston. The footage acquired by TMZ shows officers approaching David's family home with their guns drawn. When David's father answers the door, police tell him that they're responding to a 911 call that came in about a shooting and a dead body at this home. David's mom joins them at the door, and it is soon clear that the cops or the Burke family, that's David's surname, had been pranked.
Now, here it is. This is dumb. I want to make this abundantly clear. This is dumb. Now, I get it. People are feeling some type of way about this case. A lot of people want justice. A lot of people want him to be locked up. All right. Like, I get it. I get it 110%. But honestly, this is not the answer. Because his family, his parents have nothing to do with this. Out in Texas, if I'm correct, this is out in Texas. They have nothing to do with this. So why? Why? That's dumb. Leave the parents alone. They have nothing to do with this. Okay? Nothing to do with this. So people out here are finding the information and making their family have a hard time because of what David may have done. Like I said, it's not like it's not like the car was found outside their home. You see what I'm saying? So why give the family, the parents, a hard time when they're already going through it already? You got to remember, they're going through a lot already. This is their son that's going through this. And when their son is going through it, they're going through it too. You know, that whole thing you hear in the movies, like, when the kid is Their son is locked up and is like, you know, we're in there with you. The entire family is locked up with you. Because it's true. It's true. You don't SWAT. This is dumb. This is absolutely dumb.
There's actually a term for this. You probably heard it. It's called swatting. A bogus 911 call.
She said swatting. But yes, it is called swatting.
To provoke an armed response comes in, but it's a fake. Here's what it looked like and sounded like when the officers showed up here.
I'll go out wide and keep you covered. You want to tap the door? Wait for me. Because I'm going to keep you covered. Go ahead.
This is crazy, though, by the way, because they're treating it like they're going around the back. They're getting all ready because they think that something bad happened here. Because, of course, they're received a 911 call about a body. Okay? Like, bad things. So, of course, they're like, I'm going to be around the back. You go up through the front. Hold up. Get up to the front. Give me a second so I can get to the back. Okay? And then I'm ready. You see what I'm saying? Like, you feel me? Like, this is crazy. And it could have gone sideways so fast, right?
I got you covered. Come right here. There's too many windows. Here, knock on the door.
Do you see what I'm saying? This is insane, right? He's looking at the whole thing like that. He could be blasting through this window, that window. You see what I'm saying? This is not good, y'all. And of course, it's a prank. It's a hoax. Thank God it didn't work out. But still, imagine this, y'all.
We got a phone call from here saying that somebody was dead. What? Is there somebody else that lives on this property that has your address? What's your address? That's it.
That's it. That's what actually got.
We got an address. There was a gunshot and a woman screamed. What? I'm serious.
Yeah.
That's why we came up here like this, because and then they talked to the caller. Whoever they were talking to said that there's a person dead.
No, sir. No, sir.
You hear the reaction? They're like, what? Huh? I mean, of course, yeah, Gemini. Of course they're going to be on guard. Like, you got cops pulling up and they're ready. Of course they're going to be on guard. They're like, what is going on? Why are you here? We about to go to sleep. What's going on here? You know what I mean? Like, I'd be on guard too. Shoot. That's crazy.
Knock on the door. We need to talk to him. We ain't got time for this.
Ma'am, we got to figure out what's going on so we can leave, okay?
Very advised. We made contact. They said nothing happened here. She shut the door. Now she's calling 911. It ain't on their phone.
And this is not a Texas.
Yeah, it's an out-of-state number.
Someone's messing with us.
But whoever, it would ping here though, because wherever they call from, it pings and sends it to dispatch.
What?
So like whenever you call 911, wherever you are, it sends like a ping that's how they know the address.
And this address came up to this number?
Yes, ma'am, that's where he was meeting with Engine 42.
So it says somebody on my property?
It could be. We'll take the property for you.
Police stuck around for less than 20 minutes, and it does not appear that David was there at the house. Of course, that raises the question of where David was and where he's been ever since his world tour was cut short a week and a half ago and he moved out of his party mansion in the Hollywood Hills.
Now, that's the question too, right? Where is David, right? Where is David? Where could he be, right? We don't know, right? We do not know where David is. We just know that he's somewhere. He's hiding out somewhere. Is he on the run? I don't think so, but I mean, we'll see. Let me hear a little bit more.
Now back to the possible coincidence. The swatting event in Texas happened just one day after that Hollywood Hills rental mansion was being tossed by the LAPD in a raid that yielded evidence and electronics. Police were there for 12 hours, reportedly looking for, quote, blood evidence. But there's no word officially on what they found other than the laptop that they were seen bringing out. But they still haven't brought any charges against the singer named David, or anyone else for that matter. We're also learning a lot about Celeste's life before she ended up with the much older singer. California teenager who says he dated Celeste.
Okay, so we already heard that. Okay, we've already heard that part. But again, like I said, the fact that the family was swatted is really messed up. Okay, that's not what you do. That's not how things are done here. Don't do that. Of course, all of us that are listening here, we all know better, right? But it is really messed up that that's happening. The other question is, of course, is where could he be? Where is this mother lover, right? That's something that still has not been answered. We are still trying to find out where this guy is, right? But that doesn't mean that he's on the run. When police need him and they can't find him, that's when he's on the run. But right now, he's not a prime suspect. He is not a person of interest. Nothing right now. Not until they actually have medical examiner come back with more of the toxicology reports and all that stuff back from the situation. All right, from her body. We'll see what happens here. But one thing, I know somebody asked this before we go into the next topic, because we got to talk about Diddy. Okay. And that Diddy stuff be Diddying. Okay. He's doing the most. Okay. But here's the thing. When it comes to this situation, somebody asked a question. Is the parents, Celeste parents, involved in this situation? Two people asked two different things in the chat. I saw it. I just didn't get a chance to react to it. Let's talk about it. Number one of you guys said, could the parents have done something and framed David? I don't think so. I really don't think so. Okay? I really don't think Celeste's parents had anything to do with Celeste's demise. I really don't, as far as her losing her life. Another question, somebody else asked this too. Do I think that the parents sold her to David? Here's the thing. I don't know about all that. It's a very interesting theory, but I don't think it is that. I feel like if that was the case, I feel like police would have already seen that, and that would have already been unearthed by now. But what I do think is that the parents truly knew where she was, and they just let her go. They gave up. And that tells me something. That tells me a little bit more about the dynamics that was going on in that house. And no, I don't think it had anything to do with her being a victim of DV. I think she was being tough, okay? I think she was being very tough to her parents. And she kept running away. She's like, F you. If you don't want me to let me live my life in this house, then I'm out of here. And she just kept running. And I think just like any person that has been any parents, because there are some parents that have kids who deal with severe addiction. Let's just talk about that for a second. And it'll be a kid who's really heavy on, the H, right? And they just can't kick it. Doesn't matter how many times you take them to rehab. They just continue going back to those ways. I think something that's very interesting. That has happened is that when it comes to this, and I'm not sitting here saying that I condone this. I'm just saying that I've seen or heard these stories before where the parents at some point just give up because they're like, we've tried everything. We've tried the best top of the line rehabs. We've done therapy. We've done the methadone clinics. We've done everything, and it still has not changed. They keep going back to the damn smack. What can we do? And I feel like some parents end up being like, you just got to let them go. That's the only way you can do it. And you got to give them tough love. You can't just keep giving them money because you know where that money's going. Blah, blah, blah. So when I see something like that, I feel like it's the same approach that they did with Celeste, that she just kept running. And to the point where the parents were like, we can't keep calling the cops all the time. We know exactly where she is. She'll come back when she's ready. It may be a week. It may be you know what I mean? But she'll come back. She'll eventually come back. And maybe we can work this thing out. That's just kind of what I'm seeing. And I don't condone that approach because me, myself, shoot, I'm calling the cops as soon as possible. And me and that guy, me and David are having a conversation. And she ain't never going back there again. I make sure of that. But at the same time, maybe they just didn't know what else to do with the situation. Maybe. But I do not think that David was paying them to have her. I just don't see that. But you never know. You never know. That theory may be completely correct. But I do think that she was going through a very, very rebellious phase. This is just the theory. And they just couldn't handle it anymore. And she kept running. And they couldn't stop her from running. Because, you can't shackle your child. That's ridiculous, right? That's bad. That's illegal, right? So they were just like, well, we can't stop her anymore. We can, at some point, she's going to have to make a decision to come back home. And I hope it'll be soon. But then she just was gone for a year. Not a year and a half, but a year. Because I feel like she came back home 4 to 6 months after being missing, right? She came back home and that's when she had that run-in with the neighbors, the Ring camera footage. But I think the parents were very hopeful. Like, she came back home. Maybe she'll stay. And then something happened. Something happened where she wants to be free. She wants to be a grown woman. She wants to be treated as an adult. They keep on still trying to treat her like the age that she is, and she wasn't cool with it. And then she packed up her stuff and she kicked rocks again. And then she was never seen or heard from ever again until she was found in that front trunk of a Tesla. That's the theory I see. And that's the theory I'm still sticking with. Now, how she passed away, we don't know. We don't know. And I'm telling you right now, even so, like thinking about this too, like I said, that approach is not the best approach. Let's be real. Okay. The parents need to be asked, need to be talked to as well. Okay. Because I feel like so many elements have failed this little girl because she was a little girl. All right. But it is what I feel is what happened. That's what I think. After seeing the Ring camera footage, after hearing everything, piecing everything together, it does tell me that, yeah, they knew exactly where she was, but they just could not fight her anymore. They just couldn't do it anymore. She was too much. She was too hard to handle. It's sad, but that's just the theory, right? But real quick, before we go into the Diddy stuff, I know somebody keeps on messaging in the chat in all caps. Let me see. I don't see an email. Honest to God, I don't see an email. So if there was an email that was sent to me, I don't see it. Okay. I literally just opened it up and refreshed and I don't see it. But nonetheless, let me get some of these super chats here really quick before we go into the Diddy talk. Okay, before we go into Diddy land and his baby oil, because it's about to get slippery. Okay, but let's see. A beautiful messy ball. For the record, I am anti-football's Alex either. You're maybe I don't know. Maybe you're saying like as well. Maybe I don't know. But you're anti-football. Okay. Thank you, beautiful messy ball. Harmony Rocks, thank you so much. Never heard of him. Just went to his YouTube page. Good music. He's great. I subbed to his page. Thank you. Yeah. Like I said, it's like, hey, give it a chance. Take a listen. See what he's all about. Like I feel like people are judging him just way too fast solely because of their political bias. And I think that's trash. I think it's unright. It's unright. It's unfair. I don't think it's right. And hopefully people will just enjoy his performance and hear what he got to hear, hear what he performs and be done with it. But here's the thing. If he shows up in drag, yeah, that's going to be trouble. I'm going to be real. People are going to react for sure. But I doubt he'll do that, but we'll see what he does. Right. We'll see what Bad Bunny does. It'll be interesting. Corey, thank you so much. What up, everyone? What up, man? How you doing? Just getting here from work. This is an odd case. Yes, it is a very odd case, but I feel like it's an odd case, but I feel that a lot of things are starting to stack up. I feel like the story, the timeline is starting to be a little bit more streamlined. It may not be as fast as some would want, but it is happening. It's just slowly but surely coming together. I truly think. Okay. I think that this man had an obsession over her. Absolutely. He truly had and maybe it's a sinister, dark obsession, but she was definitely not of age, and she definitely should not have he definitely should not have been in this type of relationship with this girl. I think he manipulated her as well. That's what I think, through conversations and all that. And I think that this is the main reason why she kept running away from the home. And I think this is the main reason why the home was troubled, because they would have said something about like the dad being a raging alcoholic, or the mom being that, or there being SA or DV. They would have said something of that sort. They did not. They're just saying a troubled home. So therefore, it means to me that she was a rebel, that she was the one causing the trouble at the home. You see what I'm saying? She wanted independence, and the parents were sitting there trying to rein her back in, and she did not want to be held down. She did not want to be treated as a 13-year-old girl. That's just what I feel. Just saying. I know somebody going to try to turn that into something bad, or how dare you speak ill of the dead. I'm not saying anything ill of the dead. I just know how teenagers be. Okay. I was one once, and I know a lot of y'all were too. Shoo, we all been that. Just some kids are can be a little bit more vicious than others, Beautiful messy ball. Again, thank you so much. How do you want to bet he'll show up in women's clothing? You know what? It remains to be seen. I can't really put a bet on it. We'll see if he does. And if he does, I don't care. I'll laugh at it and go, what the hell's that all about? And then I'll be like, oh, here comes the internet. You see what I'm saying? Because the internet's going to go ham on him. But I don't think he will. But again, anything's possible. Anything is possible. So we'll see what happens. I can't talk about that until he actually does it, right? So we'll see how that goes down. Okay. Now we got to go into the Diddy stuff, okay? Because there's a few things about the diddler that we definitely need to talk about, that especially with everything that's coming up, and that's coming up on Friday. Friday morning is going to be a very big day. Let me just tell you that, okay? Let me just tell you all of that. Okay. Friday morning is going to be a big day. Morning is going to be a big day, and it's going to be a long day. I have a feeling, because here's the thing. This is insane. First and foremost, before we go into all the stuff that's been going on, the hearing happens Friday. It's going to be a long day, it sounds like. According to Inner City Press, this could go into Monday. The sentencing could last and bleed into Monday. This is not a joke. Yeah, keep that fool locked up. Come on, Classic. Come on now. Keep him. Just get him locked up for however long he gets sentenced. How's that? Okay. Now, we already know that the feds are basically saying, yo, lock him up for 11 plus years. That's what they're asking for. We'll see if the judge actually does that. But one thing's for sure. Shout out to Inner City Press. He says here, Diddy dockets, Judge Aaron, okay, Subramanian. I can't say it. I feel like a butthole because I can't say it right. Subramanian. It's like acetaminophen. You know what I mean? But anyway, the judge, okay, has docketed that sentencing in this case will commence on Friday. There is some talk here in the Southern District of New York that it may run more than one day. Don't ask me why. That would be necessary. Either way, he's saying he's going to be live tweeting it. So we'll be back on listening to reading his stuff and hearing what they say in the courtroom. Now, there's a couple things that are going on. First and foremost, more than 1 day for a sentencing is just absolutely insane. Why would they need a full day like this? Why? Why? I think he's going to get about 5 years. Okay? I think he's going to get 5 years time served. That's what I truly think. So he'll be locked up for like 3 years. Okay? And that's it. Little over 3 years, right? But 5 years time served. That's what I think. Now, if he actually gets 11 years, or 11 plus years, I will be shook. I'll just tell you that. I will be shook. And I think a lot of y'all will be too. But something that's going on here is very interesting. And I know a lot of y'all, some of y'all thinking 20 years? Nah. I bet 20. Woo! 10 years. Debbie says 10 years. I think he's going to get like 5, 6. That's what I think. We'll see, though, because the judge ain't playing with all of the requests that he has put out as of late. He's been trying really hard to get this whole thing retried. He wants all these charges dropped. He has been making claims that this whole thing is just amateur adult content. Okay. Amateur films, if you will. Okay. But of course, the judge is not playing. He's been saying, no, I'm rejecting your claim of adult content, amateur adult content. So Combs, Diddy, okay, moved closer to his sentencing on Friday on 2 counts of transporting people for the pros under the Mann Act after a judge denied his motions for acquittal and a new trial. So he's like, I want a new trial. He asked for acquittal, all that stuff, right? Nope. Judge said, hail to the no. Why? Because the judge doesn't like Diddy at all. He doesn't like how they presented things. This judge does not like Diddy at all. So much that he is holding on to information. He has held on to this information and he's still harboring this information. Remember, if he thought he was not a threat to society, Diddy would be out free as a bird right now, locked, with an anklet on his ankle right now, living in his spot in Miami right now with his kids. But he didn't allow that. Why? The judge said, you said out loud that he is a violent individual. So because of that, nope, we're good. He's going to stay exactly where he is until sentencing. And they've said countless times, they tried countless times, trying to get this guy out. And the judge has swatted that down several times. Every single filing that's come out, he has denied every time, every single one. So to me, that gives me the vibe that he could potentially go in on Diddy. Doesn't matter what happens with these impact statements or anything of that sort. He's got his mind made up. Okay? He's got his mind made up. So U.S. District Attorney, the U.S. District Judge, said on Tuesday, on Tuesday, he rejected the claim and others in a 16-page single-spaced opinion, writing that the feds in New York had presented overwhelming evidence of Diddy's guilt under the Mann Act. What could that mean? At his trial in July, the jury acquitted him of the most serious of racketeering and STing charges, but convicted him on the 2 Mann Acts. Trying to knock out those remaining counts, Diddy's lawyers argued, among others, that the freak-offs and hotel nights at the center of this whole the prosecution's case were performances that he and his girlfriend typically videotaped so that they could watch them together. In other words, he was producing amateur adult content for later private viewing. From that premise, they agreed that his conduct was protected by the First Amendment. So the judge rejected that argument, emphasizing that such protection only applies to inherently excessive activity or expressive activity. While the judge noted that that film is an expressive medium entitled to constitutional protection, he cited Supreme Court precedent for the proposition that, quote unquote, at some point, it must certainly be true that otherwise illegal conduct is not made legal by being filmed. He's not wrong with that. Okay. At some point, it must certainly be true that otherwise illegal conduct is not made legal by being filmed. So again, he's like, you can't sit there and say, like, if you're going to rob a bank and it's caught on, you're holding a camera the entire time. You can't sit there and go, well, it was legal because it was an expression of art. No, stop. It's still an illegal activity. Just because it's being filmed does not mean that it's legal. Does not automatically mean, I'm at the base, like you're running and playing tag. You know what I mean? I'm safe. I'm here. I'm right here. I'm tagged. I touched the mailbox. I'm safe, right? Like you can't just move the goalpost to basically say, well, it was filmed, so it's legal, right? Now it's just content. No, it's not. Okay. So then people who are literally filming SA, Rs, vicious stuff like that, they could literally say, well, Your Honor, I was just making amateur films. That's stupid. That's dumb. So the judge, he made a point. The judge added that even if Combs' conduct was entitled to First Amendment protection, his conviction should still stand because the Mann Act is a content-neutral restriction that has an incidental effect on speech. Ahead of his sentencing Friday, prosecutors said they're seeking a prison term of at least 11 and a quarter years, y'all. At least. Over 11 years, at least 11 years. And I'm sure it's going to be 11 years time served, plus time served, I'm sorry. Okay. While Combs' lawyers pleaded for 14 months at most. He has already been detained for more than a year, so his requested sentence would effectively amount to time served, obviously. So yeah, they're saying at least they want him locked up for good. And for a fact, if he does get 11 plus years and, of course, plus time served, people are going to lose their minds. Man, they did Diddy dirty, man. Taking a black man down. Wait for it. It's coming. It's coming. Oh, it's coming. Whoo! It's coming. Okay? It's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. Not a whole lot of people. But here's the thing, though. If that happens, everyone's going to be closing up their bottles of baby oil and Astroglide in the streets, and they're going to be like, oh, that's terrible. Wait. They'll be mad. And there are going to be a lot of people live streaming, screaming into their phones, right? Basically saying, he didn't deserve none of this, man. Taking a black man down, taking Diddy down, blah, 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 right? But if he gets like 14 months, oh, they're going to be popping. They're going to be popping baby oil bottles. Okay? People will be riding in the streets with baby oil and Astroglide. Wait for it. Wait for it, because it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And we're going to see it all. We're going to watch it all together. Get ready for it, because it's going to be a circus. Here's the other thing, too. So it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a big, fat-ass long day, Friday, okay? Massively big day. And if everything goes according to the plan, this is going to be a very, very interesting and long day. Because of three different reasons, okay? Numero uno. Just so you know, there is somebody who wants to speak out. Somebody who actually wants to do an impact statement at his sentencing. And that person happens to be Mia. Do you remember Mia? Mama Mia. Mia. Yeah, Mia wants to come out and speak out. She wants to do a victim impact statement. Other people have also put out written letters. Chef Jordan wrote a letter basically saying, like, please keep him locked up. Cassie Ventura, we all know Cassie Ventura, she also said, please lock him up. I had to leave the state of New York because I'm worried about how fast he's going to retaliate when he comes out of prison. That's bad. So they're saying, please, he's a menace. He is dangerous. Please keep him locked up. So there's that. But Mia wants to come out and speak, okay? And the thing is that Diddy and Diddy's team are not cool with that. They wrote a letter basically saying that Mia is a bold-faced liar. And why would you allow this person to take a moment to go up to the podium and do a victim impact statement when we've already heard what she had to say, and the things that he is being, that he's being sentenced for have nothing to do with her, have nothing to do with what she testified for. So why does she need to be brought up? Why does she even need to do an impact statement? Right? Let's hear what Diddy and his team had to say here. So they say here, dear Judge, the government respectfully submits this letter in response to the defendant's opposition to Mia's request to speak at this is the feds saying this, okay? Them reacting to Diddy's team basically saying like, stop. Actually, hold on. Let me get this right. Uno momento, por favor. Let me get this right. There it is. Let me pull this up instead, okay? Because they basically said she's a bold-faced liar, okay? So let's take a look at this one. My bad. Got ahead of myself. So they said, we write in opposition. This is his team saying this, as you can see in with the letter, the header of this letter. So, dear Judge, we write in opposition to the government's September 30th, 2025 letter motion requesting that a person with a false name, Mia, speak at Diddy's sentencing for charges of which she is not a statutory victim. Over defense objection, Mia was permitted to come into a courtroom, assume a fake identity, in parentheses, complete with a made-up voice and demeanor. So now she had a made-up voice. She was using a different voice when she was speaking and completely different demeanor. What is she, a chameleon? Like, what is she, a method actor? Like, what? Okay, so to assume a fake identity and lie about a defendant in a criminal case, all behind the shroud of anonymity. She lied that she had sexual contact with Diddy without her consent. She lied that she was a victim. Virtually everything that came out of her mouth was a lie. Lawyers write like this? That's interesting. Moving on. One of the great vestiges of the Enlightenment that once, One of the great vestiges of the Enlightenment that once held sway over parts of Europe is trial by jury. And a jury of 12 people had little difficulty concluding that this person with the false identity, voice, and demeanor was lying. And it acquitted Diddy of anything and everything related to her testimony. But she apparently is not done. Now that the jury is gone and her lies will not be tested by cross-examination or evaluated by a fact finder, she wants to return to court, still beneath the shroud of anonymity, to lie again. Simply, she is not a victim of anything. She had adult consensual sexual contact with Diddy on a handful of occasions and, as her many writings show, held him in the highest regard for years afterwards. How do we know this? The same way the jury knew. because her testimony was blatantly incredible in every way, as was the testimony of so many of the government witnesses. Moreover, that she is so eager to return to court when she plainly does not have to and is not even entitled to, puts her proffered fear of testifying at trial into clear relief. This was a show for her. She got to lie. She got to testify with a false identity. She got to try out her fake voice for a jury of savvy New Yorkers. But she also saw the consequences of lying to a jury. They don't believe you. So now that the jurors have returned to their lives and she can testify without scrutiny, she wants to come back. Still under a fake name, still with the false narrative to further sully these proceedings. What in the hell is going on? Woo! Yeah, they big mad. They big mad. Oh, they big mad. They don't want nothing to do. No. They're like, hell no. Hell no. Hell to the no. She a liar, she a cheat. You know what? The devil's a liar. I tell you what, the devil's a lie. You telling me she coming back under this fake voice, this fake name, and this fake demeanor? She did nothing but lie. So you're just gonna allow her to go back and lie? Crazy, right? Crazy. So then prosecution came back. They're scared. See, here's the thing. They're not only scared of Mia, because there's of course, prosecution, the feds, they clap back. Okay. So we're going to look at that here in a second. But they're scared of, the one thing that they're scared of is the impact statements. Period. They're scared of any impact statement. Because you got to remember, they don't want anybody going in there going, remember me? I was just here and I was talking about all the volatile things that he did to me and he made my life a living hell. Please give him the proper sentencing that he rightfully deserves, right? They don't want somebody going in and going, Judge, remember me? Remember all the crap that we went through a couple months ago? Yeah. I'm just here to remind you of the crap that I went through one more time. So you come back and say, you in there for 20, right? They don't want that. So of course they're going to sit there and come out with a letter. But that letter was very much like there was no thought behind that one. That was definitely they were in their feelies. They were in their fifis about that one for real. They're like, oh no. She a liar. Why would you bring a liar back onto the stand? Here's the thing. There's no proof of her lying. They didn't. Just because they had some during cross where she crumbled on certain questions does not mean that there was any proof of lying. I want you to remember that. There was no proof of lie. And if she did, then where's her perjury charge, right? Where are the charges where she was lying? See what I'm saying? So for them to say that is a very strong statement that they said that, right? Yeah, it felt like Diddy wrote that. You know what I mean? Hey, man. Now, I need you to write this. Dictate this for me. You mind dictating this for me? I'm sorry. But you know what I mean. Okay? You know what I mean. Actually, that's the funny thing, because I don't see the other. Hold on. That is a good question. Who signed the letter? And I don't see the other part. That's the problem. Hold on. Even Inner City Press. Hold on. Oh, that's about the shutdown. Hold on. Diggity damn. Yeah, the one that's been out, I don't see who signed it. Yeah, I don't see who signed it, but I'll be real. I just don't see this being written by, let's just say, I don't see this being signed by Diddy. How's that? But I do think that he's obviously an inspiration to what's been written, right? But again, yeah, the effing shutdown. That's another conversation in itself. Woo! And that shutdown could last for a little while, or it might be over in, before the end of the week. You never know. That's just what's so wild about these shutdowns. This isn't the first time that they've had a government shutdown. So we'll see how it goes. You know what I mean? My fingers crossed, because obviously this is affecting all kinds of federally funded, everything that is federally funded. Okay, it's a big problem. Even NPR is getting screwed right now too. If you didn't know that, NPR, yeah, they're getting screwed over right now too. They're like, well, looks like we're gonna be, if this continues the way it is, which it could be a while, they're getting screwed too. So we'll see what happens, right? But moving on, okay. So this is what they said, okay. Prosecution in this, okay. The government respectfully submits this letter in response to the defendant's opposition to Mia's request to speak at sentencing. The defendant's letter, which notably lacks a single legal citation, they have a point right there. It's all about fee. It's all about fee fees, y'all. Everything that they're saying here is about fee fees. They ain't wrong. They're like, there's no legal points here. She has, and at the end of the day, she has a right to say what she wants to say, if the judge allows it, right? But they said it lacks a legal citation. They say it is offensive, unprofessional, and on its face, nothing more than a blatant attempt to smear a victim who bravely testified about years of traumatic events she experienced at the defendant's hands. Do you realize how bad this looks in front of the judge? Just saying. Just saying. Think about that for a second. This is a bad look. That you realize that it's just him being a bully from behind bars through his lawyers. And this is just confirming things for the judge. You realize that, right? And this is days. Just a few days before, you see what I'm saying? Just a few days before his sentencing. He shouldn't have put out that statement or that letter to the judge. This is a very bad look for Diddy. And it could affect how the judge ends up sentencing him. Because it's like, yo, you are a bully. There it is. You're a jerk. Imagine what he's like if he was out of prison or, out of jail. This rhetoric has no place in this court or during these civilized proceedings. The court should reject it entirely. Mia took the stand in this court or in this trial to testify for days about the defendant's treatment of her and those in his orbit. She was clear that testifying was something she did not want to do. In fact, she had planned to die with the truth of what the defendant had done. She got nothing out of testifying. No money, no fame. Yet she did it anyway because it was the right thing to do. How difficult this experience was for her was apparent based on her demeanor in the courtroom, in which she often looked down and struggled to get words out. That is not how someone lies. It is how someone speaks about the worst thing they've ever had to talk about in their life. To suggest otherwise is offensive. Despite days of lengthy, often bullying, cross-examination, in which defense counsel explicitly accused her of lying, Mia was crystal clear. I have never lied in this courtroom, and I never will lie in this courtroom. Everything I've said is true. Despite defense counsel's assertions, nothing in the jury's verdict expresses a view as to Mia's credibility. The jury was not asked to make any finding as to Mia's credibility regarding particular instances of the defendant's violence or abusive treatment of her or others. We cannot speculate as to why the jury acquitted on the RICO count. But as defense counsel well knows, the jury could have believed every single thing Mia said about the defendant's violence towards her and others, some of which was corroborated by other testimony and evidence in the case, and still have acquitted for other reasons, such as a finding that the enterprise was not proven beyond a reasonable doubt. To draw, quote unquote, any factual inference about Mia's credibility based on the jury's acquittal is not only wrong, but it is not allowed under law. They say more. Holding court erred when it concluded at sentencing that jury had necessarily rejected victim's testimony, explaining that, quote unquote, a jury's acquittal on certain counts cannot serve as the independent basis for any factual inferences, much less by a preponderance of the evidence upon which a court may base its sentence. Mia was brave to testify at trial and is even more brave to be willing to speak the truth at sentencing after the verdict. She was by far not the only employee, friend, or person who testified as to the defendant's violence, vindictiveness, and cruelty, nor is she the only one who has sought to come forward in connection with sentencing to do the same. The defense's fear of one victim speaking for less than 5 minutes speaks volumes as to what it believes what it believes may be an impact of her telling the truth. Thankfully, the decision about whether a victim can speak at sentencing is not left to her abuser, whose very incentive is to silence her, but to this honorable court. The court is well within its right to allow Mia to speak, and it should do so. And of course, this is from U.S. Attorney Jay Clayton. Now, again, bang. I'm telling you right now, that's some crazy stuff that that she may be able to go up there and speak and say what she needs to say. Here's the thing. If she wants to, then she's got that right. She does, whether we want to or not. Just saying. Okay? Let's be real. But here's the thing, though. If she gets to speak, that means he gets to speak. This is the reason why I feel like this trial, or I feel like everybody, even inner city press, is basically saying, hey, this may take a lot longer than expected. Let me explain. Diddy is saying, I've got something to say before I go too, Your Honor. So he is going to have an opportunity to speak out and say what he needs to say. And apparently, just like how we've seen with like Pig Vomit or even Brian Koberger or, Sade Robinson, right? These monsters, right? They all have an opportunity to get the last word. He might get the last word, y'all, before or after he is sentenced. So he is going to ask for an opportunity to speak as well. And you really think he's just going to sit there and go, I'm sorry, I found God. I found sobriety. I'm just a man. I'm just a man. I'm just a man. No, he going to talk. And you want to know, I agree, Gemini. I kind of want to hear him speak too, because I just want to see what comes out his mouth after the sentencing. I just want to hear what he got to say. We haven't heard anything, really. We've had his lawyers do all the talking. So I'm very interested to see what he has to say as well. Let's take a look at this. So he wants to talk. And if he wants to talk, he has that right. The judge will ask him, does he want to say anything, any final words? And he gets to say what he wants to say, right? Before Diddy finds out how long he's going to prison, he's got some things to get off his chest. And he's planning to say it in open court. Friday's hearing in federal court where Diddy will be sentenced for his conviction on 2 counts of the Mann Act, is a little more interesting now because he wants to address the judge. In court docs, his attorney, Teddy Garrigo, says the sentencing proceedings holds significant importance for Diddy. He wishes to appear before the court, address your honor, and allocute in the most dignified and respectful fashion possible. Oh my gosh. I'm wondering how dignified and respectful he's going to be. I'm just curious, because let's be real. Before he gets sentenced, he's going to try to kiss the judge's a-hole. He going to suck it all up. And it wouldn't be the first time he's done that. I'm just going to be real. Clearly, we've been hearing about all of this. I drink your milkshake, right? We've all seen that or heard about that. God forbid if you all saw that. But anyway, nonetheless, he going to kiss this judge's booty hole. Okay? He's going to stop at nothing to try to make this all right. So that maybe by him being just a suck ass, that the judge is going to be like, shave off a year or 2. I like what he said right there. Yeah, he is charming. Damn, this mother lover charming. Yeah, I'll take about 2 a year, 1 or 2 years off. It'll be 9, guys, because of what he said right there. It changed my thoughts. It's going to be 9. I'm just saying. So they're also asking the judge to allow Diddy to wear street clothes. No! Listen, he's going to jail no matter what. He's going to prison for a while. So it doesn't matter if he's wearing street clothes. The reason why they want to do street clothes is because they want to mess with the judge's mind. In their mind, they want him to think that he's a pedestrian, that he's a civilian, that he's not a criminal, that he is a regular guy, and that he should go easy on him. You see what I'm saying? They want him to go eat. They're trying to do that so that the judge goes easy on him. Oh, that's another 2 years shaved off. Well, he's wearing the clothes. I love how he's rocking his black Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood outfit. You know what I mean? Love the cardigan sweaters and the button-ups. I'm just saying, he's doing that. They're doing that to try to mess with the judge. But he's already a criminal. Okay? So again, the damage is done. The judge already has his decision. I don't think that him wearing street clothes is going to change anything. I don't think he needs to wear street clothes. He should be in his jail jumpsuit because that's exactly what he's going to be wearing when he leaves that place anyway. It's not like the guy's going, you can leave, guys. It's done. Time served. Thank you so much. No, he's going to walk right back in that jail cell. Just with a few more years added on. But anyway, clearly wanted to look his best for the big speech. Keep in mind, Diddy did not take the stand during his trial, so this will be the first opportunity in court to say anything about the charges he faced and to address Cassie and any other victims. Perhaps, more importantly, on Friday, it would be a chance to speak to the judge about any potential rehabilitation he's undergone during his year-long stay at Brooklyn MDC. As we first reported, Diddy's been enrolled in the STOP program, a course focused on preventing SA, domestic and dating violence. Now, cool that he's a part of it, but I feel like he's doing all of this just so he looks good. I don't think that this is him being on the path towards redemption. This is him just doing this stuff so he can look good, so he can get out. At least one alleged victim, Diddy's former assistant, who testified under the pseudonym Mia, has filed a request to be in court Friday to read her victim statement. Diddy faces a maximum sentence of 20 years, while prosecutors have recommended he get at least over 11 years. So Diddy's speech is crucial, as it could impact where the judge ultimately lands on the sentence. No pressure. So again, this is very interesting that he's going to have an opportunity to speak, but that's normal. We shouldn't be surprised that he has an opportunity to speak. We should not be surprised. This is a tale as old as time. We should be used to this by now. Okay? He will get his chance to talk. Judge will hear him. And then the judge will lay down his future. Is his future going to be like, is his future going to be a couple years? Is his future going to be more than a decade? We don't know. But we will find out soon enough. This is going to be very interesting. Let me get this super chat. Happy days. Thank you so much. Diddy deserves a long jail sentence for what he did to Cassie. But he was tried on that? No. It was too late. The punishment must match the sentence. 5 years tops. Prosecutors fumbled this one. I agree with all that you said here. I see it being about 5 to 6 years. That's what I see. I see around that bracket of time, he'll get 5 to 6 years plus time served. So it'll be 4 to 5 years, depending, on what he chooses. He might get less. We'll see. But I don't see this. I just don't see the judge changing his mind out of nowhere because he heard Diddy speak. But yes, Diddy deserves an opportunity to speak. And it's normal. This is normal. Every single criminal that has ever been convicted, found guilty of a crime, they're at their sentencing, they all get an opportunity to speak. All of it. Okay? All of them. Some of them waive that right and they just take their sentencing and they go right into prison and they live their lives trying not to drop the soap. But he's going to get an opportunity to speak. He definitely is that kind of guy who wants to speak. We'll see what happens when he actually does that, right? We'll see what he says. Will he say stuff that's spot on that will change this judge's mind? I doubt it. I think this judge already has his mind made up. And as soon as they go in, like I said, I think even Mia's impact statement, if and when she gets that opportunity to speak, I don't think that she is going to impact the judge's decision on the years that Diddy will be spending behind bars. You understand that? So no matter what, the judge has already made up his mind. It's done. So yeah, we'll hear the impact statement. That's good that she gets to speak. Go on. Good on you. And anybody else that wants to speak, right? Good on them. But I'm telling you right now, that's not changing anything that the judge has, the decision that the judge has made. The judge has already made the decision probably already today. By today. If he hasn't done it by now, then he's had plenty of time to sit down and think about this. He has. So again, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Happy days again. Thank you so much. It seems to me they wasted enough of the court's time and taxpayers' time. I feel like the prosecution just doesn't want to take the L. I mean, they did take the L. If they actually, here's the thing though, them requesting the 11.25 years, more than 11 years, yeah, that's them definitely trying to get what they want. Now, if they get what they want, then that's a W. Then that's a win for prosecution. Absolutely. Because they're getting what they want. It's like, yes, he got 11. He got 12 years, let's just say. Yes, but plus time served. So in other words, 11 years. Yes, right? Cool. We got something. But yeah, prosecution dropped the ball on this whole thing. We've been known that. We've been known that. They messed this up bad. So now we'll see what happens here, right? But again, prosecution definitely dropped the ball numerous times. But they got him on something. Now we'll see if that has enough weight to keep Diddy locked up. We shall see. Okay. But yeah, guys, so much for an hour, right? There was a lot to talk about. There was a lot going on. So I wanted to make sure that was all covered. But still, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all. Okay. Hollis said my prediction is 11 years with time served. Interesting. Out in 7. Woo. Interesting. We'll see on Friday. Well, tomorrow, though, is a whole other day. Let me just remind you guys. Tomorrow's a whole other day. There's still a whole lot going on. I'm sure there's still new updates on the David situation. We will be talking about all of that tomorrow and then some. So be sure to tune in for that. Okay. And of course, appreciate you guys checking out this variety show, if that makes any sense. We talk about a bunch of different things in one show. I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Okay. But again, Friday's a big watch party. We're back in the trial saddle again for Diddy. Tomorrow, though, we'll be covering a bunch of stuff. We're going to see what happens. And when we know things, I'll let you go. I'll let you guys know. All right. So please do me a favor before we head out. Hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms like Facebook, X/, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick. My God, I'm getting tired. Please make sure you hit that follow button. Subscribe here on my main channel, this YouTube channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Go to my second and third channel, The Pascal Show Clips and Pascal Raw. Subscribe over there. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Set it to all so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload. Check out my join button down below. Become a member. Check that out. Become a member if you can. Support the channel. Check out my Patreon. And, of course, check out PascalMerch.com. All right, guys. Anyway, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. I'll be talking to you guys very, very soon because there's already stuff popping off right now as we speak. So I'll see you guys in the morning to talk about it all and then some. Anyway, it's time to get going. Much love to you guys. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.